Hello, family. Welcome to BabsWTV. Today, we're going to talk about how it's impossible for a lot of Americans right now to get a job in America in 2026. It's so hard, man. I got a lot of friends right now who's been laid off in the Silicon Valley. They cannot find a job. They've been searching through Indeed website. Even they have to downgrade themselves. Like they told me, bro, I have to downgrade. I got so much degree, but now I'm forced to do this kind of job. I'm like, hey, bro, it is what it is. Sometime in life, you gotta choose your path. You gotta choose what's right. Everybody was chasing the big bag, all those kind of stuff. It's unnecessary. Sometimes follow your dream, what you're passionate at, what you can do, provide in life. But people forget about in America. Like I don't really get it. I myself, I'm still working currently, and I'm very happy that I still have my job. But literally, it is what it is. But yeah, let's check out this clip and see what's going on, how people are complaining. It's impossible to be alive in America right now.
The skyrocketing cost of living has left millions of people working at full-time jobs or a number of part-time jobs still unable to afford a place to live. Ali Rogan is back with her conversation with journalist Brian Goldstone, author of There Is No Place for Us, about this growing nationwide crisis.
Thank you so much for joining us. In your work, you've come to know many people who work, who may have more than one job, but have come into circumstances where they cannot afford to keep a roof over their heads. Certainly, each person has a unique story, but are there any common threads in their experiences that you've been able to identify?
Yeah, absolutely. I do argue in my book that in cities across America today, in one city after another, a low wage job really is homelessness waiting to happen. And what they have in common is they all belong to the low wage workforce. And it's not just that their wages are too low to keep up with the skyrocketing cost of having a place to live. It's also that the jobs themselves have become increasingly volatile and precarious, where they often don't know how many hours they're going to be getting from one week to the next. Their employers give them 29 hours a week because at 30 they would be eligible for basic benefits like health insurance or sick leave. And yeah, the cost of housing, rents are just very, very quickly outpacing what their incomes are. So that's kind of the backdrop that defines these people's existence.
For a long time, the stereotypical perception of homelessness is that it is something that happens to people on the fringes of society, and that may have never been accurate. But what have you found out in your reporting about the reality of what it's like to be without a home?
Yeah, I mean, one really astonishing truth about homelessness in America is that what we see on the street is really the tip of the iceberg. There's this entire world of homelessness that is out of sight, that has been rendered invisible. And within that shadow realm of homelessness, as I refer to it, it is overwhelmingly populated with people, again, who are part of the low wage workforce, who families with children. And these are people who are working and working and working some more, and it simply is not enough to secure one of life's most basic necessities, a roof overhead. I mean, to be sure, in the richest nation on the planet, nobody should be without housing. But these pernicious myths and stereotypes that homelessness is just caused by addiction or it's just caused by mental illness, it really is not borne out by the reality on the ground. And indeed, often mental illness and addiction is a consequence of this form of insecurity, not its cause.
Can you tell us a little bit about what the lives of the homeless workers are day in and day out? And also, do those lives get harder during the holidays?
I think it's really easy for terms like the housing crisis or the homelessness crisis to become kind of abstract and to lose touch with just the acute human toll of this growing catastrophe in America. What homelessness looks like today isn't just the person sleeping outside the parking lot of a convenience store or a Walmart or a Target. It's often the very cashier or worker stocking the shelves in those stores. And they often have children at the end of their shifts. They don't know where they're going to be going. They have to tell their children, I don't know where we're staying tonight. Maybe they're sleeping in a car in that very parking lot. And, there's a term that public health experts use to refer to the kind of stress that children and parents are exposed to in these circumstances. And that term is toxic stress. This is stress that is so chronic, so debilitating, that it can fundamentally alter a child's long-term development. That is the human toll of this insecurity. And it is the consequence. It's the toll of what has happened when millions, not hundreds of thousands, but millions of families in this country have been flung into what a case manager in my book refers to as the housing Hunger Games.
You've cited a number of deficiencies across all sorts of categories that are failing people, but what institutions here need to change? Is this a failure of government, of industry, all of the above? How do you see it?
Yeah, I think it is all of the above. What I found in my reporting in the course of kind of immersing myself in the day-to-day lives of 5 families here in Atlanta where I live over a period of nearly 6 years, it's not just the housing system, which, prioritizes profits above all else. It's not just work and jobs and wages that aren't keeping up with the cost of living. It's also other systems like healthcare, a lack of affordable childcare, the education system, food insecurity. All of these systems sort of collide to make this human disaster not just possible, but in many ways predictable and inevitable.
Brian Goldstone, author of There Is No Place for Us. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me.
All right, so look, it is diabolical on so many levels to expect people to continue to go to work with the highest level of performance while the world is crashing, while the economy is falling apart, while most people can't even afford to feed themselves. If you haven't figured out already that your job doesn't give a shit about you, then you're going to learn here soon, because even as tariffs make things more expensive, even as the cost of living continues to increase more and more, every day you're going to go to work and you are going to be faced with the least amount of empathy you can ever imagine. You know what I mean? Your employer knows what's going on in the economy, knows that most people cannot afford to live, knows that most people are going through a mental health crisis trying to exist in this country. And rather than try to be helpful, rather than use their position of authority or power or use that business as a leverage to help people, they use that position in a narcissistic way to gaslight people into making people feel like, oh, well, it's just your fault. You know what I mean? If you would just come in and work those extra hours, then maybe you wouldn't be so poor. If you just would have came in on that day like I asked you, then maybe you would be able to put food in the fridge. It's that type of little shit like that. And I think a lot of people, I think if you can't see the narcissism in the workplace by now, then you're just blind and deaf and you have zero consciousness. I don't know how you just can't see it. But despite the fact that the world or our society seems to be collapsing, despite all that, they will continuously expect you to overemphasize your potential and ignore your limitations and put your best foot forward and put a smile on to continue making these corporations money while you and your family and your kids cannot even afford to exist. And they will look at you with this look of, they will look at you in the most non-empathetic way, as if like you're suffering as a personal problem and has nothing to do with a systemic failure. You know what I mean? And they'll try to gaslight you into making you feel like it's your fault, and they use that guilt to get you to do more work, to get you to come in on those other days, to try to convince you that all you have to do is do right by the company and your life will be better. That's fucking madness. And I think And these days, when people already having a hard time struggling to survive, and then that mental part of having to go to work and pretend like everything's normal and get through a whole day of customer service and going through this, whatever your job is, you know what I mean? And we are expected to continue to act like everything is normal when everything is not. It's crazy. Watch. You're going to start to see more little episodes, more people snapping at the job, more people just fucking crashing out because shit, we're only human. We can only struggle and suffer so much. And the fact that the society, rather than care, rather than try to help, rather than try to heal, rather than try to make things better, they try to make things worse. And then when we're at our lowest, when we feel like we have nothing else to give, we're about to give up, these employers, these businesses, these companies will not feel any level of shame, any level of guilt about the fact that they had a part in initiating your burnout. They had a part in increasing your overstimulation and influencing the mental health crisis that you're facing right now. They act like that had nothing to do with it. And then you just be out of there and they just go on to the next one and work them down and work them down and work them down. You know what I'm saying? People gonna snap. The human mind, the human spirit can only take so much.
I am just as exhausted as I look. I work full time and I have 2 kids. The jump from 1 to 2 was already a lot. Survived. My daughter is 18 months. My oldest is 7. And, you know, I thought we were entering like this golden phase where I was going to be able to sleep. Well, my oldest is now waking up multiple times a night because she's afraid of strangers, which is fine. You know, I want to be there to help her, but it's not any less frustrating. But it's exhausting. Like, race in the morning, and then no time to chill, and then straight into work, and then straight into kids. And I feel like so many people make it look so easy, and it's not. I don't know how, like, am I just weak? Or, like, it's everything just a highlight reel of the good times, because our house is a shit show 80% of the time. You know, someone's screaming, someone's crying, someone's hitting someone. And I know it's just a season, but it's a hard fucking season. And it's just, I think social media gives us this false perception of, you know, what reality really is. And it's hard because you just feel like you have to live up to all these unrealistic expectations. Oh, I mean, I can't be alone. Like, I'm just exhausted.
And every day I find it harder and harder to get up here and go to work and pretend like everything that's happening in the world not happening. I even said one day, y'all don't find it hard to be here with everything that's going on in the world. Like, it makes the things that we over here stressed about.
The burnout in America is unreal. Did you see the headline that said 43% of Americans have used vacation time to just spend the day in bed? They're not using PTO to travel, they're using it to sleep. That's how tired we are. And I can already see the comments now. You guys are getting vacation time? I've heard stories of European coworkers not being able to meet their American coworkers in multinational companies because they don't want the American workers finding out how much vacation time the Europeans get. If people from the States found out how much vacation time you get in Europe, I think there'd be some big changes like tomorrow. It is unreal having to live in a place where you have to pick either getting a surgery or putting it off because you don't have the time to take off from work. This can't be healthy. This can't be the right way to live. That's why we're moving to Europe, the land of sunshine and rainbows. I like to say that to rile up my comments. No, we're moving to Portugal, a country within Europe that has its own slew of problems, of course, like anywhere else. But we're escaping the work culture. We're escaping the hustle and bustle and the never being able to take time for yourself. I'm turning 30 soon, and this can't be it. This can't be all there is to life. I refuse to believe it. And even if I fall flat in my face, well, damn it, I'm gonna try. If you find that interesting, stick around. We're moving next year, and we can't be more excited. And in the meantime, to all my American friends, don't be ashamed to take a day off or two. We could all use a break.
What the fuck are we doing on this earth, man? Every day, most of us wake up and go to a job that we really don't fucking like, but we can't really quit because we gotta get the money to pay the bills that they say is important to pay. What the fuck is the point of this life, man? We go to grocery stores and buy food that God gave us for free. Why the fuck did we pay for lights? well, that's just the way it is. Fuck you. I'm tired of all this that's just the way it is bullshit. This whole fucking system is garbage. America ain't nothing but a big-ass fucking plantation, man. A big-ass fucking plantation. What the fuck are we doing here? There are days I don't want to be on this earth. And I'm not saying I want to unalive myself and nothing like that. But I'm tired, man. It's like, what the fuck is the point of any of this? To work till we 60, 70 years old? Most of us ain't gonna fucking live to see 50. But we gotta work to maybe retire. Man, fuck you and all that bullshit, man. I don't give a fuck about who president, left, right, and all this dumbass shit. I'm tired of this whole fucking game, man. It's a big-ass game. It's a big-ass charade. America is a fucking plantation. I don't give a fuck what nobody got to say about it, man. This shit is exhausting. Like, I don't even want to look for another job. I'm going to walk in there. They going to ask me, why do you even want this job? Bitch, because I need some fucking money to pay the bills that they tell me is important to pay. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Working 40 hours a week. That's a lot of time, right? I think that's a lot of time. I think that's more hours per week than the average person in America should be working. Okay, we could argue that, right? But that's a lot of time. That's a big chunk of your life. It's a big commitment. And to not make enough to make ends meet, right? There's no advice I can give you that really helps that situation. It's inherently embarrassing. It's shameful. It's humiliating. It's a public humiliation ritual. It's frustrating. It's so many things. And it's been a tough year. 2025 has been ridiculous. So going into 2026, a lot of people are saying it's only going to get worse. And I totally believe that it's only going to get worse. So I've been working on my mindset personally. I'm like, cool, what can I say no to, take away off my plate? What kind of mindset shifts do I need to see all of these challenges as opportunities? But this video's not really about that. I think we need more people turning up to protest, to be really frank about how they're feeling about all this stuff. And it's not, I don't think, complaining. It's people need to see this, to know that they're not alone. You're providing a service to someone else on this planet, to know that they're not alone.
How are people affording life right now? How are people tackling this cost of living on the average American salary? I just watched a TikTok of a teacher who makes a teacher's salary. I don't know what state she's in, so I don't know how much she makes, but her 1-bedroom apartment is $2,000. And when she spends $2,000 on that 1-bedroom apartment, it doesn't even come with a washer and dryer. So she has to go pay an additional $2 every time she wants to use their washer and dryer. Okay, like, how does that leave her any extra money to spend? And then she said she had a $400 car payment, which some people were bashing her on that. But in today's economy with interest rates, that's really not that bad. And I'm sure she needs a dependable car. So you talk about teacher's salary, $2,000 in rent, $400 car payment. You got insurance, you got groceries, electricity. Like, I don't understand how people are affording life right now, and it really makes me sad for some people. You have people who are like her. She's single, she has her own salary, or families where it just works out best for them, for the mother to stay home. And if the father is just making an average American salary, how are they affording life without going in a bunch of debt? This lady who's a teacher started crying because she said she realizes on her salary and where she lives, she will actually end up in more debt. Then, like, she will just continue to accrue more debt and more debt and more debt because her salary is not matching the cost of living. And what's sad is I've seen people be like, just spend less. Listen, guys, the cost of living is rising and our salaries are stagnant, okay? So there's not just spend less. That's not the problem here. The problem is the cost of living is outrageous, and minimum wage in some states is still $7.25. Teachers in some states are still paid a ridiculously low salary, even though their job is super important. I don't know what we can do about this, but I'm just going on a rant because it really, really pisses me off.